Most leadership training programs sucks, especially when you're barely holding things together. And I'm not saying this to be edgy. Most of it try to show us what leadership should look like, not what it is in real life. Kind of like showing someone to play football by showing them only the photos of Messi and Ronaldo. What about when things goes wrong and we start to blame ourselves? What about when we mess up and we need to earn back the trust? Instead, we got frameworks that makes us feel smarter, acronyms that we pretend to know, and theories that might work in a parallel universe. Oh, and inspirational phrases that they look great on a slide, but they mean nothing when we are exhausted from ongoing shit. It feels like being handed a first aid manual while someone is already bleeding in front of you. Useful in theory, but useless in the moment. When I first became a manager, I had a few of these sessions, and none of these programs told me what to do when things go bad. And worse, no one even told me that things will go bad. They made it look like if leadership is this clean step-by-step process, but it's not. It's messy, it's full of politics, and full of people with unspoken needs. And a lot of time, it's lonely. Okay, let me repeat what I'm trying to explain. The problem is that most of these courses, programs, they are built for a world that doesn't exist. A world where you have always enough people, enough time, and the stakeholders are on your side. The result? After spending thousands of dollars or euros, we still micromanage, we still burn out, still miss the deadlines. I'm not blaming all of these courses and workshops, but we are missing some better leadership development programs, especially when 5% of companies only have leadership programs in all levels of the organization. So, let's talk about that. Not about what great leaders do, but what you can actually do before, during, and after those hard conversations and moments that you have at work. Before we go, let me give you some background info. When I got into leadership training and coaching, I start to see this issue more clearly. Each time even I want to create videos like this one, I ask myself, would this advice have actually helped me back then? Back then when I felt lost as a manager. And the more I look around, the more I notice one thing. A lot of tools and resources that are used to train managers, they aren't built for real people in real situations. So let's get to it with some realistic tips. What to do before things get bad? We usually know when something is off. The tension in the meeting, the silence in a chat, and the gut feeling before a call. But what most people do is ignoring it. We push through it. It's not a big deal. Or at least that's what we say to ourselves. We over-prepare our slides like if it's a TED Talk, not a random Thursday meeting. We blame ourselves quietly. And we walk into the store, tense, disconnected, and hoping for the best. And when the storm hits, we are not ready. We freeze, we shut down, or we overreact and later regret it. But you know what's better? Micro prep. Literally 2 minutes to pause and ask yourself, what mistake do I want to avoid repeating? What do I want to actually accomplish with this call, meeting, or conversation? Even that 2 minutes pause will make you 10x more grounded than most people walk into the room. And here is one thing that really sticks with the people in a meeting. The first few seconds. Think of it like a dating. The first impression matters, and yep, awkward silence count. So practice a calm and clear opener, something like, thank you so much, John, for joining me. Let's get aligned on what's going on and figure out a solution that works for both of us, because apparently this is not serving either of us. Nail at the start, and everything else gets easier. Now, even though you should pause and reflect before an important meeting, we both know that this is not always enough. That's why I created the weekly leadership strength checklist, just a simple way to pick 1 or 2 things to focus each week, helping you become the kind of leader that you want to be. The link is in the description. Check it out if you are interested. What to do during the hardest stuff, when stakes are high or someone is challenging your last call? The best leaders do something very boring but powerful. They pause, literally, for 2-3 seconds. Because otherwise your nervous system takes over. And you might say something defensive or nothing at all, and you miss the moment. And then later, you feel like crap because you didn't show up the way that you wanted to. I have done so many regretful reactions, I could definitely create a podcast out of them. To circle back, I've learned 2 practical techniques that I use myself and they work like magic. One, which I like to call silent winner belief. Did you know the more you say or hear something, even if it's false, the more your brain accepts it as a truth? Or if you say something out loud that doesn't match how you feel, your brain adjusts your beliefs to decrease your discomfort, making you start to believe the thing you said. This is mind-blowing science. And not just being science, you could actually use this one in the start of your conversations and meetings. This is how you can do it. Next time you enter a meeting or conversation, quietly say to yourself, I like this person, I'm going to work through this problem with him or her, or whatever that is positive and helps you. Now, wait a second, if you're thinking that this is cheesy, nobody hears your thoughts. So just give it a try and see how this impacts your work over the time. The second one is returner. It's perfect when someone argues or complains. And for some reason, every team has one of these complainers. Anyway, when this guy is annoying you to death, instead of arguing back, you can turn the situation around. And all it takes is a question. Something like, any idea how we can fix this? Then listen to the solution. If valid, thank them and let them know that you will think about it. If there is no solution, just push back and ask the person to think about the solution and come back and we can talk about it. This way, your tension in the meeting or in the conversation goes away, and from now on, you can rock and roll. Unless you're dealing with an unreasonable person, and in that case, perhaps you want to have a separate conversation. And I will share a link up here or below on how to handle hard conversations without losing your shit. Now, what to do after stressful meetings? And ladies and gentlemen, here is what nobody talks about. What do you do after a stressful meeting? Because if you don't deal with that, your body does. Tight shoulders and back pain and racing thoughts that never shut. Your brain stores the stress and next time it hits harder. So here is what I do now. I take a 5 to 10 minutes pause after the meeting to reflect. What worked? This is great for the future to understand what did work and also to reinforce positivity in your brain. What do I wish I've done differently and how would I try to do it next time? Also, I try to move even just for 30 seconds, stretch, breathing or walking. Not sexy and not a big leadership moment, but this helps your brain to calm down and handle the stress better. And also you have some notes that you can use in the future. Now, as you know, most leadership development happens after the fact, not during a seminar, not during a strategy day workshop. It happens on a random Wednesday after a call with your team where you wanted to disappear, but you didn't. You stayed. That's leadership, not being perfect, but willing to keep practicing. This is why that checklist that I mentioned, it matters. Start with the checklist and pick something that you want to get better next week. Track it, but also reflect on it. Then repeat that next week and the week after. Yes, you won't become Ronaldo or Messi, but you become your best. Now, before you bounce, there is one more crucial thing that barely anyone talks about it in these workshops, and that is how to say no without sounding negative or how to push back on the leadership and the stakeholders' unrealistic requests. And that's why I made a full video on it that you can check out here. I'm Sam Levine, thank you for watching, and see you soon.